Welcome back to part two of episode. Oh, geez, we're gonna have to renumber all these, aren't we? It was so. I guess it's episode 14 we would be on, because
That sounds about right. Part two at this stage.
yeah. But anyway, episode part two of episode 14 of I Think You Think. You can find part one most likely wherever you found this one, or if you're having trouble, you can find a link to the whole playlist in the underbar. And so, without further ado, we do have a topic, right? There is something you wanted to talk about a little bit.
We do. And media piracy in general. And I know you just got back in yesterday, right?
We just got back in on
On Tuesday.
but it was Tuesday late, so it's probably the plane landed around 8:30, 8:40. We didn't really get to do much yesterday. We spent about half the day at my wife's parents' house before they had an opportunity to take us home, and then unpacked. And I was dead tired. I was in bed by 9, and then I worked this morning. So I only got home from work after a little after 8, and I'm pretty tired. So I haven't
Right, right.
much of anything.
So we don't have much research on the subject, but we were just going to talk about media piracy. We figured, after the vacation, it'd be an easy one. We don't really have to do any research on it. But just kind of its history and where it's going and the effects it's having. And again, we have no credentials, but we thought it'd be an easy but interesting topic. Um, for me, I feel like it's, I mean, you can go back. I mean, media piracy, you could even argue. I remember being in like high school and middle school, and my friend would get, whatever, the new Metallica on tape, and I'd have some blank cassettes, and I'd record my copy on one side, maybe on both sides. And that was kind of media piracy. But, that's a really short distance you're traveling for a lot of work, like one person to one person. And it's really not going much farther than that. Maybe there's a group of us and one person buys it, and now three people, record the new album. But now, like, one person buys an album and they can upload it to torrents, and hundreds of thousands, millions. I mean, technically, I guess billions of people have access to the internet. But so any of those people, a large number of those people, have access to just getting it for free if they want it. It was a slow build to that point where it's become what it is. I think it really kind of started with music and programs to a degree. I feel like certain programs have been um, bootlegged and pirated like that. And now, I mean, TV shows, movies, books with things like Kindles and Nooks have gone very digital. Um, and there's probably a dozen things I'm not remembering. I think that you can, like, some people somehow take video games, like PS3 games and Xbox 360 games, and are able to extract them off the discs. I'm not sure how you do this. And then you can burn it onto another disc and, like, with a modded version of that console, like, play those bootleg discs, so more piracy. Um, and all these things that are being pirated, and it seems like it's becoming easier and easier. I don't know. I don't have a solution, but it's obviously like a horribly, horribly broken at the moment. It's too easy. I mean, if what's a movie that came out this week? I don't know. I wasn't on my Amazon. I watched Wreck-It Ralph recently, so that's relatively new on DVD, Blu-ray, whatever. I could probably, with a little bit of research online, have that downloaded onto my computer before we're done recording this podcast.
Yeah. Uh, the video games thing, yeah, you're right. I mean, you with I've seen my son's Xbox just recently went kaput right before we left for vacation, and so I was doing a little bit of research online to see if I could find an Xbox, and a lot of the Xboxes would say things like this one's been modded, or it has not been modded. Um, and the way they always bill it is that they're not doing anything illegal, because they're saying, I'll back up video games for you, because technically, I mean, you can make a copy of something that you own if it's used as a backup.
Right.
That's not piracy because you're not giving it to anybody else. You're not selling it to anybody. You're just using it as a backup. Now those modded Xboxes, PS3s, and everything aren't super great only because that you can't get updates for games ever again because you can't use those on the internet. Um,
Yeah.
you can't connect. Can't connect to Xbox Live or anything using them. So they are a little limited, but I mean, when you're talking about being able to buy relatively brand spanking new games for that are normally 60 $70 out the door, and you only have to spend $5 or something for a game like that, um, then some people don't care so much about whether or not they'll ever be able to update the game or anything like that.
Yeah, that seems, I mean, for me, that's way too big of a sacrifice. Not being able to update, not being able to probably get DLCs, I would guess, unless they have some way of doing that as well, which I wouldn't be surprised. Not being able to get on Xbox Live. If all that is, true with a modded system, I don't know why anyone would ever do it. It's not, that wouldn't be worth free games to me. I mean, I wouldn't go through the work either way. It's not, I'll buy my games. I work for a living. It's fine, you know. Um, but yeah, that seems like too big of a sacrifice.
I'm with
Um,
you on that one too. That's why when I see those, I'm like, not interested. Um, but some people are. I mean, but that's for that. But when you're talking about movies or um, music or anything like that, that's not as much of a stretch.
no, well, I mean, because you're not sacrificing anything in that way. I mean, you're risking something, because it's illegal. But you're not sacrificing, to be able to get this free music. Now you will never get the left channel on your headphones again or something weird like that. You know what I mean? Like you would with video games. But I don't know. I mean, it feels like it's becoming a vicious circle because, the more, because I don't know, I don't remember how old I was when like Napster was around. And then there were some other things after that. Anyone to like the peer to peer, like the Kazaz and LimeWire, and there were so many of them throughout the years. Those are some of the big names. Um, but there are people now, kids who are high school age that never remember not being able to get music for free and just be able to find it.
Right.
So now there are these people that can't justify the cost, because they're not used to it. But at the same time, because of the fact this stuff's getting bootlegged, the price of things needs to be higher, whether it's books or, movies, music, whatever. So it's like this vicious circle um, where they need to get in a position where they can protect it, but it's also got to be cheaper because they'll be selling more at that point if people can't get it for free,
Yeah,
if that makes
I
sense.
think I know that some of the big name uh, internet service providers like Comcast is a big internet service provider, and lots of these other cable companies that provide high speed internet. AT&T also, their Uverse and everything like that. One of the things they're trying to do is where when they detect that you are either uploading or downloading or something like that, the type of stuff that I don't know specifically how they go about doing it. I don't know enough of that. But basically they determine that your IP address is either uploading or downloading uh, illegally obtained, um, or at least things that they're trying to crack down on piracy. So when they notice it, behavior that makes them think that it's piracy, then they send you little like, hey, we noticed this. We just wanted to make sure that your IP address, that you know how to lock your Wi-Fi and and keep people from getting onto it to make sure it's not you. And, if you're interested in, here are some services out there that allow you to get, music and where to get movies and such like that. Like they'll tell you about Netflix and they'll tell you about things that are like Netflix, but for music and stuff like that. Um,
Right.
Eventually, like if you keep doing it, then they give you a few more warnings. And then from what I understand is when you get to like the fifth and sixth warning, then they'll actually cut your internet speed down to like 256 kbs.
Which is like you might as well turn it off.
Can
Like,
anybody do anything with that? I mean, that's
yeah,
ancient speeds.
yeah. My
Try-
my email would take forever to load.
what, what was that? I missed what you said.
Hmm. I said my email would take forever to load on that kind of speed.
It's like trying to drive a tricycle on the highway, really. You're
Oh
not
yeah.
gonna get it there. But but what they were saying when they were talking about this is after the fifth or sixth, and they punish you, quote unquote, with internet speed getting knocked down, then they don't do anything after that. They don't continue to threaten you. They don't continue to lower your internet speed. They just figure, okay, well, we're not getting through to this person. Let's just not do anything. And their goal is that if they at least get the information out there to consumers that there are other places you can go for legally, not illegal, but legally obtained music and videos, that people, for the most part, will do it. To a certain extent, I can understand that. Like, I'm willing to pay $7 or $8 a month that I pay for my Netflix so that I can stream stuff, even if 80, 65, 70, 80% of the stuff on Netflix I really don't watch and I'm not that interested in. But being able to do it, I'm willing to pay for. Same thing with Hulu. I just wish more companies would get on board and do that kind of stuff.
Right. Well, I mean, then you can get, I mean, if you're talking about those kind of services and who's doing it and who's not, then you can, I mean, and this is probably a topic for another time, where you get your piecemeal cable, because right now when you buy cable, uh, you're pretty much forced to pay a big sum for a bunch of channels when most families or groups that have cable are only gonna watch a fraction of those channels. Like there are a ton of channels I would gladly drop off if it would lower my uh, cable bill. You know what I mean? Because there's channels I'll never watch. I'm never going to watch the Home Shopping Network. I'm never going to watch Fox News. I mean, not that I won't watch the news. It's just Fox News isn't on my list. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to watch, Lifetime or Oxygen or any of the kid. I'm not going to watch Disney or Nickelodeon. I'm not going to watch NHL TV or NFL TV or MLB TV. There's like all these channels that I'm paying for that I'll never watch. I mean, again, that's a different subject. That was a really long tangent for a future subject. But yeah, I have Netflix and I have Hulu Plus as well. I pay for both of them. I've had them for a long time. I don't watch Hulu Plus that much, um, but I like it for what it is. And I have my on demand via my cable. Um, but yeah, I mean, the bottom line is that it's too easy right now, and they don't have an answer. And I don't know if you can ever, you know, close it up because all of our media, like Blu-rays, CDs, downloadable music, like if you download digitally protected material from iTunes, you can still burn it onto a CD because that's your right to do that. But then once you burn it onto a CD, you're two steps away from, if you so desire, to be at a point where you can just give it to people and it's unprotected because you can re-rip it off the CD and blah blah blah, whatever. You know, it's right now it's too easy because everything is digital, and once stuff is digital, even if you lock it up, eventually someone figures out how to make the key to your lock.
Right. And especially with digital, I mean, there has to be a way to unlock it, or you can't lock it.
Right,
With any kind of a lock, there's got to be a way to unlock it, or that completely defeats the purpose of locking it.
right.
All
I mean,
you can really do is just slow people down, or even stop the majority of people But I mean, with the dissemination of information out there with the internet nowadays, even somebody who's never had any experience in cracking anything can crack something by just following a YouTube video guide.
Right. Yep. I mean, it just takes, desire and, I mean, it's not like any person could do it, but any person bright enough to achieve it would be able to do it, or who's willing to put enough time in. Um, I think eventually it could move to, cloud storage. So I wouldn't buy um, the Men in Black 4 Blu-ray. I would just buy ownership to it online. So I'd be able to stream it whenever I want, because I mean, when are you ever without your Netflix? I have, two TVs in my house. They're both hooked up to Netflix. One is literally hooked up to Netflix four different ways. And it's not on purpose. I didn't do it just so I could say this. It just happens to be that both my consoles are on there. I have my Roku for some other channels I can't get anywhere else, and my TV just supports Netflix. And then, my other TV's got it off the Blu-ray player, and then my laptop and my tablet and my Kindle Fire and my phone, Netflix, it's everywhere. So something like that where you can have it pretty much anywhere you'd watch stuff, where now I just own that access. So as long as I'm logged in, I can watch it or listen to that music or whatever. That's part of the future. The biggest scary thing for me and for those that have listened to all our episodes, I do think we talked about this, like Amazon taking away someone's books because of with no disclosed specifics, some flaw, something they had done that broke policy, but Amazon refused to tell them what it was they did that broke policy.
That's
And it turned out to be something that wasn't even really them or something weird. They got their stuff back, but they had to fight for it, and they had like bought those books. But since it was digital content, the company was able to take it away. And I think that's something that's going to be a really hard thing to get people to adjust, like to be willing to buy into, unless they can be guaranteed that I get to keep it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between something like iTunes where you actually, for whatever amount, you purchase um, an episode of something, or you purchase a song or something from iTunes, and something like Netflix where all I'm purchasing is the access to these things, but I don't own any of them. And that's why I honestly think, I mean, I think for some things it will continue to move in the direction of cloud storage, but my guess would be that we're going to see a lot more of this stuff like Netflix, where we're going to give you a huge library of music and movies and TV shows that you can have access to, but you have to pay a monthly fee. And as long as you want to have access to those things, you have to pay the monthly fee. And then that way they can over time raise the monthly fee or limit what you get. Like, okay, well, if you just want music, you pay this. If you want music and movies, you pay this. Because then they're not ever selling anything other than a service.
Right. Well, I mean, the problem with that is if we look at movies, the whole system is built on release it in theaters, make that money, release it on Blu-ray, make that money next. So they still want to get that Blu-ray money, the Blu-ray and the online rentals and the DVDs. They're still going to want to get that chunk. So there'll still have to be something in between there.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm sure that there's still going to be things like iTunes where you can actually purchase them and have them. But I think you're right in the sense that you won't actually own it on your computer. It'll be in a cloud somewhere where it's kept. Um,
Right. And that's what I have. Like I own the movie Elf on from Amazon. I don't have it anywhere unless I log into my Amazon and there it is. So anywhere that I have the Amazon app, whether it be a console system, or on, if I just log into Amazon via my laptop, I can just watch it. I could, be at your house and I could log onto your laptop and we could just watch Elf, wherever I go. And I think that's kind of the the only situation that seems like it makes sense to me that could actually fix it. But the laws would have to really lean in the favor of the consumer as far as ownership of those products. It would really have to be kind of ironclad um, for people to really accept it, for it to have any true growth, for people to be like, yeah, I'm building my online movie collection. I'm building my online music collection.
Yeah, I mean, if they, you're right in the sense that a lot of the digital content and things like that, there are aspects to where you could violate something and not know you violated it, or you might not have actually even been involved in the violation, but you picked up a cookie somewhere on some website that violated it, and they'll just close your account. I mean, that's not unlike what happened with my AdSense account on through YouTube, where they just said, that I violated something and my AdSense account is now closed.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
Nothing I can do about it. They won't tell you what. They don't have to. They say, we're not going to tell you what. You violated X. You violated one of these things. You can apply for, this is what's really funny is you can attempt to uh, you can have it uh, reviewed, and they ask you to give you evidence. They ask you to give them evidence about why they might have reached a conclusion for why it should have gotten closed, but they don't tell you why it got closed, so you don't know what kind of evidence you're supposed to be finding.
Right.
And so,
Which,
I just threw all kinds of stuff at them. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
yeah, I didn't break any of your rules.
yeah,
That's all you should have sent. I did not break any of your rules.
and they're like,
Uh,
yeah, and they
yeah,
don't care.
no.
Because that's just the way it is with a lot of stuff, and it's the same thing with like YouTube. If you have like a terms of use violation on YouTube, they'll take your video down. They'll say, hey, you got a terms of use violation, here's your strike. you know
Right.
and it's because it's easier for them to do that than to spend how many amounts of hours and time trying to research every single thing. It's easier for them to just take it down and say, here's your strike.
Yeah, but I mean, YouTube is a slightly different situation if you ask me, because I think they're dealing with a lot of like copyright issues, people posting things that they shouldn't. And because of that, they don't want to get sued, so they need to be hard and fast about it. And that makes sense, because you don't want to be the one like caught holding the bag if, Universal Pictures decides they want to sue you. You know what I mean?
It's the same to a certain extent. That's the same thing with AdSense. AdSense pays people, for ads running on their videos or ads on their website, but their main clientele, the ones who they really answer to, are the ones who are paying money to AdSense to have their stuff be advertised somewhere.
Right.
So if the person who's the advertiser, who's giving up their web space or giving up their views on their videos for people to look at it, we're not really the client, and so it's AdSense wants to protect their clients, and so if it's somebody's clicking your link too many times and it's all coming from the same IP address, and that looks funny to us because it looks like you're just paying somebody to click links so you can get your amount of money. That's bad for their consumers. That's bad for their clients, and so
Right.
for them to just shut down that AdSense account. So I get that, but it is kind of irritating that there's nobody to talk to. There's no answer as to what the problem was, or
Right.
specific. Was it here? Was it like a bunch of ad clicks coming from like Brazil or something, and that's why I got it shut down? But who knows? I don't know. Doesn't.
We'll never know. We'll never know. But I mean, and that kind of like corporate power is what will steer people away from moving to a purely digital, ownership. Like someone like I own like, I don't know, a bunch of movies. I own a lot of movies, but I would not feel comfortable if those were all owned on Amazon, because of having known that story and knowing that something weird could happen where they feel like I broke the terms of service And, I wouldn't with that kind of collection. I mean, I wouldn't anyways. I love Amazon. I use them all the time. And I could just possibly lose all of that. So I haven't actually owned it. I paid $20 a movie or whatever to rent it for as long as they're willing to let me rent it. And when they say it's over, it's over. And that's the thing. That's the thing that needs to be fixed so the other thing can be fixed. Because then you're not actually I mean, someone will then figure out a way to hack the stream and get it. And there'll be another key to another lock. And it's the genie's out of the bottle. It's never, Pandora's box has been opened. It's probably never going to actually get fixed.
Yeah.
And that's our happy ending to our return podcast on media piracy and vacations to Europe.
Yeah, in the end, there's always going to be people who aren't going to be willing to pay for it. I would say I'm willing to pay for access to those things. Um, but if you're a company that, for whatever reason, you choose to not put your television shows onto things like Hulu, onto services like Netflix, you choose not to do those types of things for whatever reason, then I'm sorry, I'm not going to go out and spend an extra $20 or $30 a month to have some kind of uh, uh, TV channel or something so that I can watch your one show. You know, it's just put your stuff online and advertise the crap out of it. Like, I'm willing to sit and watch the same amount of advertisements I would on TV for your show, but then let me watch it when I want to watch it. Like, I don't want to sit down in front of my TV at 8 p.m. on Friday night or something. I might be busy. You know,
Yeah, the world doesn't work that way anymore.
let me watch it when I want to watch it. And yeah, we've got on demand on for cable and things like that, but even that, you don't get everything that you want. Again, sure, there's DVRs, but why don't you just put it online? But oh well.
Oh, no answers yet. But, I mean, things like DVR and on demand and Netflix and Hulu are moves in the right direction, although those things aren't all brand new. They are, it seems like some things are moving in the right direction for that to happen. And I mean, even Kindle books and stuff like that, they'll have deals of the day. I mean, if you're an avid reader, you can get away with just buying their deals of the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Um, and still have a lot of books to read at a very reasonable price. So there are a lot of options out there. It's the truth. Um, so again, another topic we haven't come up with a solution in a half an hour. Man,
I can't believe it. We should be able to solve these problems in a half.
I I thought we were going to tackle it. I thought we had it.
Almost there, I'm sure. Uh, but it is good. I am looking forward to continuing our talks. I do have to, because I made a promise, I have to give a shout out to my bro Yazzie. Um, she's one of the girls who went on the trip, and I told her that I would give her a shout out. So there you go, Yazzie. That's
Hello, Yazzie. It's nice to know you're listening. I hope you're having fun wherever you are.
in Norway,
Oh, nice. I'm coming to visit.
right next to Sweden.
Yep, it's close enough. I'll run over to
There
Sweden.
you go. So yeah, I don't. I think we've hit a bunch of stuff. You guys heard about my amazing, fun, awesome vacation, and yeah, that's pretty much it. We talked about media piracy a little bit. We solved all the problems of the world. And James, are you still there?
I am. I am. I was just thinking about how we're going to have to figure out whatever problems come up in the next 7 days to fix it next Wednesday or Friday and Monday. We fix them on Fridays and Mondays. That's what we do, right?
All right, guys. We will see you next time. Thanks for joining us. Remember, please keep in mind, we like to get feedback from you guys. Send us messages, like us on Facebook, on YouTube. Um, comment, yell at us, send us messages on our Facebooks, our personal Facebooks, or on the website, on the Facebook group. So that's pretty much it. We'll see you guys next time.